Hey, good morning, everybody. We're going to do this without intros again, and I apologize because I know a lot of you are fans of that. But I really want to talk about something important, and that is this Datacron issue that has been going on in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes over the last couple of days. If you are living under a rock, either your name is Patrick Starr or you have no idea what is going on. And let's just give you a TLDR to catch you up beforehand. First of all, the Pillars of, what is it called? Pillars of War Datacron set involved an attacker cron that gave 25% offense per buff, but there is something called invisible buff stacking in the game, and there are a lot of buffs that aren't taken into account. And basically, what that means is that this attacker cron highlighted the entire set and dwarfed everything else and blew everything out of the water. Now, without warning, CG decided that they were going to reduce the power of that datacron from 25% to 5% per buff. And in doing so, they decided, hey, let's take everybody's level 6 or above datacrons, roll them back to 5, give them the materials to get that stuff back up, but we're not going to give them the materials for re-rolling, and we're not going to reset the reroll costs on those datacrons, and people flipped out. Now, I am not saying that this is malicious because I don't think that CG does things maliciously. I do really think that that was an oversight. And essentially what happened from there is that Crumb decided, hey, wait a second, this is not working right. We're going to reset everybody's datacrons back to how they were yesterday. We are still going to roll these from 25% to 5%, but now we are going to also give people a ton of free Datacron material and call it a make good. Essentially, the things that players were getting, and I'm just going to pull this up onto my other screen, is that for every attacker cron that you had in game previous to this happening, you would be receiving one Pillars of War Datacron on top, plus an additional one, so that if you did not have any, you still received a free Datacron. They're reducing the cost of upgrading any Datacron from this set by 90%, making it very easy to bring Datacrons to level 9. And all players were given 20,000 Alteration MK1, 20,000 Alteration MK2, and 20,000 Alteration MK3 per attacker Datacron that they had, while also setting the cost of re-rolling those datacrons to one data cache. Basically, what CG said here was, hey, we did screw up. We screwed up really bad with this datacron set. We are calling this set a wash. Now, I do have a problem with this because they keep saying in their forum posts that this is a make good, that they are making good for the players by providing them with all of these resources. But the reality is that that is not what is going on here. What they are essentially saying is, hey, we screwed up so bad that this datacron set is a wash. We don't know how to fix it, and we're going to just give everybody as much as they possibly can have so that these next 4 months of Pillars of War, or really 3 months, don't matter at all. And I am going to tell you right now that as somebody who only does 3x50 refreshes in Conquest for Datacrons, and as somebody who got super unlucky in this Pillars of War Datacron set, I win. I win so hard. My Datacrons have been upgraded so much just this morning while re-rolling things. It's great for me. I am at a huge advantage, and it's going to help me stay in Kyber 1 versus previously where I kind of thought, hey, I'm screwed. I'm going to be falling back to Kyber 2, and I'm not going to be able to compete at all during this time. And I know a lot of you players out there are in the same boat. You're going, wait a second, this is great for me right now. This is awesome. This is wonderful. There, however, exists two major problems. And again, like I said in my last video, I want us to consider that we are all players, whether you spend $10 a month, $50 a month, no dollars a month, $100 a month, or way more money than my mortgage per month. We are all people playing this game, and hopefully we are playing this game within our means and not going into debt to play. So keeping that in mind, the two problems that exist are this. Number one, If you spent a ton of money on this Datacron set and you already min-maxed all of your Datacrons, you have now received a make good that you cannot accept. Those Datacrons in your inventory are coupled with those reroll materials, which essentially means you need to delete all of your old Datacrons in order to get this make good. Now, that is problematic because re-rolling 30 Datacrons is a huge time expenditure. So if players who have spent a lot of money want to take advantage of this make good, they have to also commit to spending a ton of their time working through the set and deleting everything they currently have in order to redo things to possibly make them marginally better. Or they can sit there with that mail in their inbox for the next 30 days. Now, I do know that this is how make goods in the past have worked, but in the past, the most we have ever received is one Datacron, two Datacrons, a couple of materials. It's really not a big deal. This is a huge deal. If you are a player that spent hundreds upon hundreds of dollars just to re-roll two attacker crons and the level 9s and not your stats, you now have to commit to deleting all of your Datacrons so that you can take advantage of rolling stats. Because why wouldn't you, right? You have the ability to do it, and CG is giving you the means to do it. Again, otherwise, it just sits in your inventory, and it kind of sucks, and it feels bad for those players who are the ones that are largely supporting CG the most. Now, problem number two is actually a bigger problem. I have talked to a lot of players that play this game and a lot of players who spend this money, and I have essentially asked them the question, hey, this Datacron set is insane, or it was insane. Can you estimate for me, I don't need to know the amount of money, but can you estimate for me the multiples that you have spent compared to other Datacron sets? And these players have told me that they have spent anywhere from 2 to 4 times the amount of money and in-game resources than they would have spent in a normal Datacron set. These players are made completely whole by this change. These players are unchanged and largely unaffected. They go from having their 30 Datacrons to having their 30 Datacrons. They go from having all of the attacker crons they need to having all of the attacker crons they need. However, players like myself, we have gained the advantage. So while the gap before was this, now the gap is this. And I kind of feel for those players because they have spent way more money in a month than I have spent over my entire 9.5-year tenure playing this game. And I know that there are a lot of players who have not spent any money at all, rolling their eyes watching this video saying, good Egnards, screw them, who cares? And that is not what I want you to take from this, because while I recognize that, yes, we would all love to live on a level playing field within the game, it's just not realistic when we're talking about the mobile gaming space. And I went into this game and becoming committed to playing this game more regularly under the understanding that that was always going to be what's happening. What's actually scary here is that this is one of the first times that CG has done something like this without at least first warning the player base. Normally, we will get a post that says, hey, we are investigating this thing. And of course, we will never get a post afterwards saying, hey, we have investigated and here's what we're doing. We're just going to do it. But in this case, that did not happen. We weren't told a week into the set, while people were still farming in Conquest, hey, we're investigating this, just so you know, so be careful about what you are spending. They just kind of let it happen and let it ride out and let us get to the point where we were comfortable with the Datacrons we had before they made the change. And CG, listen, I actually applaud the change. I very much do. Those attacker crons were insanely overpowered and just not right for this game. It was not fun for players who do not spend a lot of money. And in fact, because we do know that Datacrons do not have an equal chance of rolls, this morning while rolling my attacker crons just to see what those percentage chances were to get that top end attacker cron, the drop rate is pretty damn low for that one specifically. I don't have exact numbers because there's a difference between rolling at level 6 versus rolling at level 9. but it is low. And if you got unlucky and you got screwed, you are basically screwed for the next couple of months. So, yes, CG, I do applaud the fact that you have recognized that something was wrong and that you decided to fix it. I don't, however, applaud the fact that we are being told that this is a make good, when in reality, it is not at all. The people who have spent the most resources are getting essentially nothing. The people who have spent the least amount of resources are getting caught up to those players. And it has me concerned right now because there are so many FUBARs that have happened over the last couple of months, and resources and free stuff have been thrown at us as players. And we have kind of said, okay, I got free stuff. That's great. um, it does have me concerned to invest my resources further, to spend money further. And I know I am not a whale. I know I am not somebody that spends a ton of money. I know that if I were to leave the game tomorrow, CG would not miss the amount of money that I spend. But given everything else that is going on in the game right now, I think it is important not to look at this issue as something where they should be given positive press right now, where instead they should be criticized for their lack of overall communication. Once more, this always seems to happen around the holidays. CG never decides to make big changes middle of the year. They always seem to decide, you know what, let's make this big change while everybody is on Christmas break. And I do applaud the people who are at work right now and who have to be in office. And I do feel bad for you guys from that respect. And I do feel bad for you, again, like I said in my last video, for the personal attacks that have been slung. And I do not think that any of that is right. And I do not think that the game community should react in that way. But I do think that we do need to look at this video, this issue rationally, and understand that the systems in place by CG for communicating with players are ineffectual. I have played games with budgets a third of the budget that CG has, that have mastered the art of being able to put information in the game, even if it's just a link click, so that players have the option of clicking on patch notes. And that is not something that exists within this 10-year-old game that is making money hand over fist. I am looking forward to this GAC off week, and I am looking forward to this next conquest where I am not going to have to worry about Datacron farming, where I can, in the second half of the conquest, just kind of sit and relax and not have to worry about farming at all, and build those resources. But I am still frustrated. I am frustrated by that lack of communication. I am frustrated by the PR spin calling this a make good. I am frustrated by the players that do not understand the actual problem here. And I do think that more people do need to be talking about this right now, because this is real money. And I will end by saying I understand that CG and Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes has an EULA. And I understand that that EULA, the end user's license agreement, basically says, hey, we can do whatever we want. We can make changes, and LOL, that's great. And I understand and I get that and I recognize that. And I am not saying anything to the effect that none of that is, above board. But what I am saying is that the people of CG do need to recognize that players are sending their real life actual resources to this company to play this game. And the least that they can do is give us the information in an effective way and communicate with us in an effective way when they are looking into things that they feel have a reasonable chance of being changed. And at the very least, provide us, or provide the people who have spent the most amount of money right now, with an actual make good that makes that doesn't make light of the resources that they have spent. With all of that said, peace out and have a great rest of your day.